I was diagnosed when I was 8 months old. I had a brain hemorrhage in my brain, had a stroke, and it paralyzed my whole left side for the rest of my life. At 8 years old, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. My first seizure was at 8 years old. I was helping my brother and my father moving some stuff out of my grandmother's house one day, and when I come out of the house, my body just stopped, and it was like a break dancer, that's how my body was. I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was right there. And when I went to the doctors the following week, they told me what it was, and I didn't know how to take the news.
Mel has started a YouTube site
because I wanted to educate people about epilepsy. Some people don't want to learn about it, but I want to learn people around the world that it's safe. When you see somebody having a seizure, you can teach them by videos. You can tell them what to do and what not to do, and what's dangerous and what's easy to do.
I had a cousin that had epilepsy, and I know it's very difficult, and it can change people's lives. I think that his wasn't it wasn't from birth. That he wound up like having a fever, or he had some kind of illness that triggered this epilepsy. I'm not 100% sure. Some people that have epilepsy are born with it. What are the other ways that we can contract or become epileptic?
Most basically it's from a structure of your brain. That's it. It's like a battery that short circuits, and it is when your battery short circuits, it's like your brain short circuits. When your battery's dead, your brain's like short circuited, and it's making your thing in your brain have a seize.
Well, I just interviewed a gentleman from Australia the other day, and that was one of my most recent videos on Dundalk TV. He had a stroke at 11 years old and an aneurysm, and that has totally changed his life. But he had a stimulator put into his brain, and that helps the issues with the paralysis.
There's two things out there now. It's called a megasurge stimulator. One's in your brain. It's like that big. And another one is one I had. I had one in my chest. It's like a size of a silver dollar. And what they do, they cut right here where your neck is. They put a piece of wire right up there, wrap it around your vocal cord, and they give you a magnet. And when you stop the seizure, you go like this, and you come out, and your voice is dark, and it stops the seizure less than 15 seconds.
Wow. That's absolutely amazing. Is there anything that you have learned that kind of trigger your seizures?
Yeah, learn to be calm. Yeah, there's a lot. Since I work for Home Depot, I work outside of Home Depot. I do customer service. I work on a lot. The main thing for epileptic people, they should be warned of the weather during the summer when it's hot and muggy and sticky. When it's like that, take a lot of breaks or get bottled water. It helps you to stop the seizure, or go inside where it's nice and cool. Stay in there for like 5 or 10 minutes. Stay in there until you're nice and cool. Then you can go back outside and do your job. That's how I do my job.
Okay, so overheating, especially during the summertime, or being in a hot environment. I worked inside of power plants. It was some of the areas I worked in was so hot you just sat there and you had sweat just running right off of you. So that would not be an environment that you should be in.
No.
Okay, now what about different activities, like, let's say, running, jogging, things of that nature?
I was bowling for 25 years. Um, I had a seizure right inside the bowling alley because you're like an athlete and you're throwing a ball down the alley. You get hot sometimes, and it's caused from the heat of um, the lights. The lights just brings down a little bit of heat, but not too much. But you can still have a seizure inside, and it can be very, very dangerous. I'll give you an example. I was getting off a bowling, taking my shoes off. I was done bowling, everything. My wife was there with me, and what happened was my chair just like scooted this way, and it went down, and my body went down with it, and I had like a half an inch in my back, dent in my back, and I was out for like 10 weeks. And during them 10 weeks, I had so many seizures. And it's just, it could be, it was from what happened at the morning when I fell. And you could just, when I had that injury, it was devastating. And I had seizures that whole month. I was out of work, bowling, and everything else. But I had to find ways to keep myself calm so I wouldn't have seizures.
Okay, so stress is a trigger?
Yes, stress is a must. It's a must trigger. When you're sleeping at bedtime, a seizure can wake you right up. I have two kind of seizures myself. I have a petit mal seizure that lasts 15 seconds, and I have a grand mal seizure that lasts 25 minutes. When I'm in a dead sleep and you have a seizure, I can fall out of bed and hurt myself. And it really hurts when you fall out of bed and hit when you're inside of a cabinet.
Yes, I've heard about people suffering traumatic injuries not because of seizures, just because they fell out of bed. They rolled out of bed, hit the end table or the floor, and that has caused them to have memory issues.
Right.
Now, what about memories of what does it do to your memory when you have a seizure? Do you remember what happened sometimes, or?
I remember everything what happens. I know what happens and what happens thereafter.
But that's not everybody. That's not everybody, though, is it?
Exactly. It ain't everybody. Mm-hmm. Some people can lose conscious. Some people can swallow their tongue, like they say. But when the people that swallow their tongue, don't put your two fingers in that mouth, because when somebody's having a seizure and they try to swallow their tongue back, don't put your fingers in there, because their teeth, they can bite you. They can bite your finger very fast and very hard, and it hurts. They said put a spoon inside your mouth so they wouldn't hurt their teeth.
Okay, now what would you recommend doing for someone that's having a seizure? You said not to stick your hands in their mouth, but what kind of recommendations would you have for somebody that is having a seizure?
When you're having a seizure, don't panic. If you panic so much, you ain't helping that person with that seizure. The first thing you do is put them on their side so they can start breathing. Number two is when you bring them back, put something on the back of their head, like a coat or something, so they won't hurt their head. Number three is time it. Time how fast the seizure you're having right now, then before the EMTs take over there, and they'll take it from there.
Now, do you recommend, if it's a hot day, do you recommend like taking some water and putting it on a rag or even a shirt that somebody took off and trying to cool the person down with their head, neck, things of that nature?
If the seizure stop, yes.
But while the seizure's going on, just leave the person alone?
Yeah. And move stuff. When you're inside, you got tables and chairs and everything else. When you're having a seizure inside, please move the table over the side, because it's very, very dangerous for them. They can hit the table and hurt yourself right on the edge of the table.
Okay, and that's if they're on the floor, or is that if they're standing?
On the floor.
Okay, if they're on the floor, just try to move any things that are around them out of the way.
Yeah, just need a wide open space.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you kind of put your bodies around the person, then they kind of wouldn't move in different directions. You could kind of help keep them in a certain place too, I would assume.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a nightmare situation. It sounds like you're doing a great job of handling it personally. And I'm very glad that Home Depot has hired you and given you the chance, because I know that you're very proud about having that job, and you want to see other people. From a previous discussion, one of the things you want to do is make employers aware that the people with epilepsy are employable and that they would like a job. So I commend you very much for that. And I also really appreciate you have a friend that helped you start the YouTube site. You know, I really, hats off to him. That's great that you have a friend that would do that for you.
I'm going on my 14th year at Home Depot, the same store that hired me 14 years ago. I would like to give my YouTube channel out to these guys. It's Mel Riebe, RIEBE /Live with Epilepsy. And you'll see my introduction video, and we're putting different videos on there. My first video was there about information, what happens. I'm doing my second interview video Thursday here. My friend's gonna come out and we're gonna do a home video, and we're gonna stick it on YouTube so you guys can learn about epilepsy and a lot more what you can do for a person who has epilepsy.
Okay, and hopefully we'll be sharing this on the Global Brain Injury Association as well as the Dundalk TV site, so that'll help get the message out as well. Now, when is the last time that you had a seizure, Mel?
3 days ago.
And how long did that one last?
A good hour.
And where were you when it happened?
I was in the bedroom. I had 2 grand mal seizures and a pen mal seizure.
Well, I would assume that prevents you from driving.
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of medication are you taking, if any?
I'm taking everything you can think of. A seizure medication. Whatever they got out there, I had. From phenobarbital, from Tegretol to the menthol. What the menthol is a much stronger medication than the other two I just told you about. It's 25 milligrams, and what it does, it stops the seizures to an extent. You'll still have the seizures, but that medication lets you sleep during the night and lets you do your stuff during the day.
Now, I've heard a lot of things about medical marijuana and helping out people that have seizures. So have you been able to be giving any kind of medical marijuana at this point in time? And you know, and just so you know, anybody that hasn't been prescribed that or can't do that, I 100% understand if they would be finding a source for themselves to relieve that, because when you're having such problems, if there is something that helps, you want to have that. So I totally understand that as well. So so what is Have you been introduced to that medically, or?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
For some people, it can be very helpful. Some it can help hurt some. I'm not saying all people would be great for marijuana. It'll stop the seizure right like that. But no, it's like different medications. My medication, I can go a day without a seizure. Fine. The marijuana, I would say maybe for the rest of their life. I would say maybe because I haven't been introduced to it or not. Some people, I heard stories that have with marijuana. They took the marijuana and it stops the seizure, and they have nothing since that day.
Yes, well, I've heard the same thing. That's why I'm asking you. So, since you haven't had that opportunity, would you be interested in that opportunity?
Oh yeah, to stop the seizures, yes.
Okay. Well, they're getting ready to build a medical marijuana distribution center in the Dundalk area. So I think that you will have that available to you soon. So I would be very interested in following you along with that, with getting the help like that and seeing what it can do for you. There's a woman, Debbie Wilson, that had many different difficulties after having, I believe it was a traumatic brain injury, and she was on like 40 some different medications, and now she's off all the medications, and she is a proponent of the cannabis oil. So and she said that it's totally changed her life for the positive. The medications can be very bad for you, so this is a natural way of helping yourself relieve that. The gentleman, Adam Mate, that we had the conversation with, I'm going to make sure that you, I'm going to send his information over to you so you can become friends with him on Facebook. I'm sure that you will like Adam. And if you haven't seen the video that we did with him, please check it out. He just had one brain surgery. He had a stimulator put inside of his brain, and now, or he had one inside. He probably had one inside of his brain. They went in, they looked at it because it wasn't working exactly the way that they wanted to, and they're trying to tweak it now. So in about 2 to 3 weeks, they're going to be operating on doing brain surgery on him again. So we're following what's happening with him. There's a gentleman that is from, oh geez, I won't say what state because I'll probably get it wrong. But he's coming to Baltimore in October, and he is a traumatic brain survivor, and he has many problems. He's not really able to communicate. They're actually doing, like, I think it was a green and a red card. Green would be like for yes, and red would be for no. That's the level of difficulty that he has to communicate. But he's coming back to Johns Hopkins again, and he's going to be having the plate that was in his head readjusted, and they're going to finally finish up what they were doing with him here. And when he comes in October, I will be meeting with him and his mother. So I'm looking forward to that. But he was having 40 seizures a day. So, just if this is able to help people out, we would hope that it was able to help them out because, as I said, some of the medications can cause liver problems. I've heard of different medications actually shrinking the size of your brain and things of that nature, which is not healthy for you. So we'll be following this and we'll be talking to you about this more in the future. So now, Mel, I greatly appreciate you coming on to Dundalk TV. Love the fact that you are doing something for people out there to warn them and help them, and actually trying to advocate for people with disabilities to have the ability to work. Now, is there anything else that you would like to add before we go? I would like to hear a little bit about Maggie and how you met her. And that's, I forgot to ask you about that. Why don't you tell us about your wonderful lady friend?
Before I tell you, I have to tell you something else.
Okay.
I'm an ambassador for the state of Maryland. What I do is I go around the state to businesses, schools, and special events. I got that position a couple months ago. I wrote like a two paragraph story about me, and they got me back 2 weeks later, and they said, we selected you for Public Day Ambassador. So this is why I'm doing my YouTube and videos and all this.
Okay, and how long ago was that? Have you gone to any schools or anything as of yet?
Not yet. This is like my first interview with you.
Okay, well, good.
You actually did.
Well, come on over, because you're not in the picture. Stand right behind him, and you'll be in there. If you stand, no, don't move over. Stand behind him, or you'll be out of the picture. Okay.
There she is.
Okay, well, great, and so happy for you that you have found somebody, and
Actually, he didn't find me. I found him.
Okay. And that you have somebody that's there for you, and a lot of people with disabilities aren't that fortunate. So I'm very happy for you in that respect. So
I found him on. It's called Tag. It's a website called Tag.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it.
It's like Plenty of Fish. Have you heard of Plenty of Fish?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like a dating site?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I'm super happy for both of you. And so tell me about Mel. Have you gone out to any of the schools or anything at this point as an ambassador? You said, I think you said no, that you've just done this video, right?
The one I've done with you first. I went to a support group like 2 months ago down where Abilities Network is, where I am on the board of directors, and I spoke there and told them who I was, and I was an author and writer and writing a book, and it's just coming out. And they were surprised because I had all these facts set up for them and everything else. And
okay,
they were very happy to have me.
So what is the name of the book?
It's called Living with Epilepsy. It's like a true story of myself, and I have facts and figures inside, plus how I live with epilepsy every day.
Okay. Well, I'd be interested in checking that out. And the next time that you go to be an ambassador, ask them if they would like to have somebody speak about traumatic brain injury as well. We can inform them about both things. And sometimes they intersect. When people, after people have a traumatic brain injury, they do have seizures. I know that for a fact because I had them myself. Now, how that correlates with epilepsy, I'm not 100% sure, but that's something that we can find out. So thank you very much for joining us on Dundalk TV, and keep up the great work, and we 100% support you.
Thank you.
And we're already subscribed. We're subscribed to you, and you're subscribed to us. That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mel.
No problem.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thanks.